Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I know many of you will be shocked to see me. I'm also in a shock. During Japa time, I got two shocks. First shock was that Yugal Kishore Prabhuji is not giving class. I was feeling a little disappointed. And then the second shock was that you are giving class. Hari, I'm still not recovered from the shock. So I sincerely pray at the lotus feet of my spiritual master. I sincerely pray at the lotus feet of my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, our Supreme Lord, and all the assembled Vaishnavas here, and those who are in Zoom as well, to bestow their blessings and mercy upon me, so that they can give me the right words to glorify the Supreme Lord and Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 23, verse number 17. Prabhuji said 17. 17, Prabhuji. We don't want third shot. Tatra tatra vinikshipta Nana Shilpopashobitam Mahamarakatastalya Jushtam Vidrumavedihi Tatra tatra vinikshipta Nana Shilpopashobitam Mahamarakatastalya Jushtam Vidrumavedihi. Propose.
Tatra tatra vinikshipta Nana Shilpopashobhitam
Mahamarakatastalya
Jushtam Vidrumavedihi.
Jushtam Vidrumavedihi. Vaishnavis. Tatra tatra vinikshipta Nana Shilpopashobhitam Mahamarakatastalya Jushtam Vidrumavedihi. Thank you. Let's read the synonyms. Tatra tatra, here and there. Vinikshipta, placed. Nana, various. Shilpa, by artistic engravings. Upashobhitam, extraordinarily beautiful. Mahamarkata, of great emeralds. Stalya, with a floor. Jushtam, furnished. Vidruma, of coral. Vedibihi, with raised platforms, daises. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation: its beauty was enhanced by artistic engravings here and there on the walls. The floor was of emerald with coral daises. Purport: at the present moment, people are very proud of their architectural art, yet floors are generally decorated with colored cement. It appears, however, that the castle constructed by the yogic powers of Kardama Muni had floors of emerald with coral lace. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Dhamamayyam Tadadi Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Dapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Neelabandhu Jagapati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasavi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I was born in the dark of ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the touch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances. Once again, I sincerely seek the blessings of His Grace Vimal Kishore Prabhuji and all the assembled devotees to bestow me with the blessings and give me the right words to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam and the Supreme Lord. We are in third canto Srimad Bhagavatam. Every canto, every verse in Srimad Bhagavatam is so amazing, gives us so many important, wonderful lessons. And this particular episode where we are, Kardama Muni and Devavati Mataji, it gives us so many instructions, especially, there are many angles you can take instructions and teachings from. Those who are in family life, they can learn a lot from them. They can learn how we can have wonderful relationships, keeping Krishna in the center. So we all understand, Kardama Muni was not an ordinary person. Who is he? Who is this? He is the son of Brahmaji. And Devavati Mata is also not an ordinary personality. She is the daughter of Swayambhu Manu. And we know the qualities of Kardama Muni in the pages in the previous chapters. How wonderfully, Maitreya Rishi and Vidura. This is happening, the conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. And Maitreya Rishi amazingly glorifies, what is the quality of Kardama Muni. He's not an ordinary person. And in fact, this personality, when he got the instruction that he's supposed to be a Prajapati, he's supposed to be a progenitor, that he has to beget children so that the world will have right kind of population. And here, he was always completely fixed in pure devotional service. Maitreya Rishi says that he was already a liberated soul. He was already in that platform. So as soon as he heard the instructions, he went to perform penances. As soon as, when we get the instruction, go get married, we get children, he didn't immediately, look for a wife, look for an apartment. No, he did not do that. He immediately went to perform tapasya for 10,000 years, not just 1 year, 2 years. Generally, this is the problem, right? When we get to know that, supposed to get married, and the thoughts linger in mind. And especially when you know whom we are getting married, it becomes more difficult to control the senses and mind. But here, everything was given to him. Like after the penances, I think he performed penances in Bindu Sarovar, right? In the banks of river Saraswati. After seeing his devotion, his amazing tapasya, Lord Vishnu became completely pleased with him and he gave direct darshan to him. He appeared in front of him and literally Lord told everything that is going to happen. He already gave the predictions. Everything was already said. In fact, he even said in 2 days, the day he appeared, he says, day after tomorrow, the great personality Swayambhu Manu will come along with his wife Shatarupa. And then he will offer you his daughter. So you will get married with such an illustrious daughter. And Devavati Mataji's story starts from there. What a personality she is. And apart from the external beauty, her quality, her devotion was amazing. And she was completely immersed in the thoughts of pure devotional service always. And these two personalities, when they were joining in life, what wonders can happen? That's what we are reading now. And here, when we read in the previous chapters, it is mentioned, right after he got darshan, from the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord told everything. You will get married, and finally he also mentions this. He says, while performing devotional service, keeping me in focus, you have already pleased me. Eventually you will attain me. That also he said. Lord, he said that after performing the service of getting married, begetting children, you will also come back to me. Can you understand? It's so amazing, right? Lord says, if suddenly Lord Krishna, Gopijana Vallabha comes and says, you perform your devotional service, eventually you will come back to me. Don't worry. What an amazing feeling you will get, right? What a wonderful confidence you get. So we will talk about a few aspects like relationships and also the faith. And Kardama Muni, after that, he understood. He did not become proud. Generally, what happens when for sure we know that, right? We will go back to God, for sure. Because who said it? The Lord said it. There is a tendency that, Abhi, life settled. Nothing to worry, right? But that was not the attitude of Kardama Muni. That actually made him more humble, more serious in devotion service. That is the quality of a pure devotee. Pure devotees see every situation to increase their devotional service. They never get relaxed. They always look for opportunity to increase their devotional service, by which please the Supreme Lord. That was his motive. And after the Lord disappeared, Swayambhu Muni and Shatarupa, they came and they glorified Kardama Muni. In fact, he paid obeisance and took the dust on his. Can you believe? Swayambhu Muni is also not an ordinary person. In fact, he's the emperor of the entire universe. And he lives for 310 billion years, not ordinary person. And he came and he glorified and said, literally pleaded him, can you please accept my daughter? And what kind of a daughter? The most beautiful, most illustrious, with wonderful devotional qualities. And please accept. And he, with humble heart, he said, yes, I'll perform this service. And then immediately what happened? They got married. And again, generally the tendency is after marriage, go for honeymoon or Switzerland or somewhere. That is the trend in material world. But what did he do? He did not do anything of that. Immediately again got back to devotional service, again started performing severe tapasya. For how long? Many, many years, hundreds and thousands of years. And Devavati Mata, let us try to understand in the lotus sandals of Mother Devavati. She is the daughter of the emperor of the entire world. What facilities she might have got, right? Everything at her disposal, especially for fathers. Daughters are very, very dear. Anything for the daughter, right? Fathers will do anything for the daughter. Doesn't matter. But imagine, that's how she was raised, with so much love, so much attention, so many maid servants around. She just need to write, like how we talk about Hiranyakashipu, right? Hiranyakashipu with his eyebrow, he will control the temperature, everything. Entire cosmic, cosmology he can change with his eyebrows. But here, the opposite. Everyone wants to please her. That's how she grew up. The same Mother Devavati, who was raised with so much opulence, so much care, love, and affection, coming to this, hermitage of Kardama Muni, and there, Kardama Muni and herself, no maid servants, no external help, and she was completely taking care of Kardama Muni. When he was performing penances, and this went on for thousands of years again, she never complained. She was very focused and very dedicated at her service. And what happened? Because of that, her beautiful body became emaciated. She lost all her luster. We understand, right? When somebody lives in a hermitage with very minimal facilities, very minimal, no air condition, no fan, no nothing. Basically, whatever we can see, 4 walls, and that too, not a concrete walls or whatever we see here. Hermitage is real hermitage. That's how she went on serving her husband, very with determination and dedication. once he has completed his meditation, because that was the process in that age. This happened in Satyuga. In Satyuga, meditation was the process. Yogic practice was the practice. So after performing, completing, Kardama Muni, when he opened his eyes, he saw Mother Devahuti. His voice became choked with emotion. He sees, look at this personality. Daughter of Swayambhu Manu, the emperor of the entire universe, was serving me all along. And what happened? In between, he was not appreciating. During meditation, he didn't open and said, oh, Devahuti, thank you so much. He never said anything like that. He just continued with this meditation. And when he completed meditation, so in between, there was there was no interaction, hardly, right? So that's how it was. Serving. That's all. Except serving, there was nothing. Here, again, Kardama Muni with emotion, he started glorifying Mother Devahuti. His voice was choked, and he glorified every aspect of how wonderfully she served, him. And then he gave the blessing. He said, whatever I have achieved, he says that in the chapter, he says that, I have achieved all perfection from the Supreme. I will give all that to you. Kardama Muni performed all the tapasya, all the penances. Devahuti Mata assisted, served Kardama Muni. And she is getting everything what he has. That is the beauty of devotional service. In devotional service, many times we say this, right? When we serve our spiritual master, Shiksha Guru, Vaishnavas, when they are pleased, we get the ultimate goal, Krishna Prema. Only through them, only through the mercy of Guru, we can get Krishna. Otherwise, there is no possibility. So when they are pleased by our devotional service, this can happen. And that is what happened. And at that time, Devahuti Mata, they were very focused. There was no tinge of material, pleasures or sense gratification there. She said, yes, we have the service of, creating progeny, that we need to have children. Why? This is also instruction of Brahmaji, and it's all perfectly orchestrated, perfectly arranged. And then immediately Kardama Muni said, yes, of course. And Devahuti Mata said, please find a suitable place so that, we can perform that service. Then immediately Kardama Muni, through his mystic potency, he created this aerial mansion. Bhagavatam pages describe this aerial mansion. That's where we are now. Amazing descriptions. We have never heard anything like that. Such a description. Today's verses also, if you see, every, walls, they were so beautifully decorated with artistic engravings. And the floor was decorated with emerald, marakata. And not just ordinary marakata, maha marakata. Great emeralds and raised dices, with coral. We all know coral. All these are, we can only imagine. We have never seen anything like that. That's why Prabhupada says in the purport, in this world, even a billionaire, when he builds a mansion, the floor will be a cement floor. He is not going to make it with marakata or coral, So this is the difference we can see. How much ever wealth they have, they can not even come close to what Kardama Muni has made, aerial mansion. It is beyond our conception. On all this, keeping in mind that only for the service of the Lord. It's not that he just want to enjoy. We can see that right after performing the service, what did he do? He wanted to leave home immediately. We all know, right? Devahuti Mata gained back her luster, her own amazing beauty. Then they were on the aerial mansion, went to the areas of Meru Parvata, and that was the best of the places in the entire universe. So beautiful. And they performed the service, and immediately after coming back to Hermitage, he said, I have to leave now. That was his attitude. That was his, we can say how fixed he was in his service and devotional service. He performed the service only for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, only to fulfill his father's, service. I remember this. The word for whom we are serving, serving for that great personality is very, very important. This I heard from Muralidhar Prabhu, one of my very worshipable senior god brother. He was mentioning this. He came to, him and his Mataji, Radharani Mataji, जय श्री श्री राधा गोपी जन वल्लभ भगवान की जय, श्रीताय पतित पावन गौरहरि की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. And Muralidhar Prabhuji, and he's by profession, he's a dentist, he's an amazing devotee, very sincere, very senior devotee. And he came along with his wife, Radharani Mataji, to Chicago. I mean, they came to visit US. They also visited many places, including Chicago. So they met a devotee. The devotee was very happy. They asked, "What makes you so happy?" At that time, the devotee said, "No, actually, I'm working with Maharaj." He's mentioning about his Holiness Radha Sai Maharaj, because there is a project and I'm also part of the project. So I get to have association of Maharaj, personal association of Maharaj so much. And then after some years, he happened to call him again. At that time, the devotee sounded not so happy. He was a little dejected. He asked him, "What happened? Why are you not sounding so happy like the previous time we met?" He said, "You know what happened? The project I was working with Maharaj, it got completed. Now I hardly have any personal association of Maharaj. That makes me feel a little disappointed." Then again, after some years, he called. And this time the devotee sounded so happy, very happy. He asked, "What happened? Something happened?" Then he said, "Now, previously I was working with Maharaj. When that personal service got completed, I was rejected. Now I am working for Maharaj. All of us can work for Maharaj. All of us can work for Prabhupada. All of us can work for Krishna. How? By following their instructions. When we do that, we get immense pleasure, immense happiness, and which will be long lasting. So working for, that is very, very important. Because many times we all aspire for personal association. We all aspire for, whenever Regal Kishore Prabhuji is there, we all want to have his personal association. We want to hear as much as we can. But that is very, very important to get personal association, especially when we can get, especially when there is an opportunity to get for personal association. Like today, we have the second part of seminar today. I request all the devotees, please come in person to attend this wonderful seminar. So where we can get minimum 3.5 hours of solid personal association from Prabhuji and all these assembled devotees. So that is very important, of course. And in addition to that, to follow the instructions. When we follow, that means we are working for. When we work for, then our happiness becomes long lasting. This is what we see in the characteristics of Kartama Muni. He was working for his father Brahmaji, more importantly, working for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Then absolutely there is a focus. And coming back to the point here again, I want to, try to understand this. I asked several questions also to Prabhuji also. First time when I read this particular episode of Devavati Mata and Kartama Muni, it is very bewildering actually. How can somebody do like this? Now, how is it possible? And whatever we discussed, same questions I had, like, how is it possible for him, for Devavati Mataji to completely renounce everything and serve this personality who was completely in meditation for hundreds and thousands of years, hardly any interaction. And how could she do that? So everything was bewildering. But when we understand the purpose behind everything, Bhagavatam does not have any personality or any incidents without any purpose. Everything has an amazing ultimate purpose. For us to have wonderful lessons, especially in relationships. So this also I heard from Muralidhar Prabhuji about relationships. For any relationships, a relationship between husband, wife, or with devotees, or with anyone, for any relationships, there are 5 things. This we can call it as a sutras, like formulas. If you follow this, for sure there will be a wonderful relationship and will definitely get the ultimate benefit. So, I'm going to, please allow me to discuss that. This was actually shared by His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And once when somebody asked, Maharaj shared this 5 points, which I really, really liked it. And, someday I really, to my heart, want to follow this too. The first one, he said, and in fact, Maharaj mentioned that if anyone follow this particular formula, these 5 things, the relationship will be a Vaikuntha relationship, not just ordinary, not just my relationship is good. It will become a Vaikuntha relationship. Vaikuntha means no anxieties. And not just that, purely spiritual. And the first one is accept, acknowledge, and appreciate. We all heard this. We all have heard this. Accepting the person as they are. Very, very important, right? This is the main problem. We have our own conception, how we want the other person to be. But the thing is, we may not be in that standard, but we expect the other person, you be like this. Many times this happened. Once a devotee, again a senior god brother of mine, went to Maharaj and asked, Maharaj, sometimes we want our family members to come to the particular standard, but they are not there yet. So how do we tolerate them? You know what did Maharaj say? Anyone knows this? Yes, you tolerate her, how I tolerate you. Amazing, right? I never thought about it. My goodness, Krishna, really? Yes. If I look through my heart, how much Maharaj is tolerating me at every moment. Such a rascal I am. But he's so merciful, tolerating me, accepting my service. So that was very, very profound instruction. And coming back to the point, accepting the person. When we accept the person as they are, then immediately we will acknowledge the person. Acknowledging the person's service, acknowledging the person's presence, first of all. Many times what happens, we might be very good in relationship with others. And when I'm talking about others, other than our own family members. Many times it happens. But when it comes to husband and wife, we may not be, as, loving or affectionate as we pose ourselves to be. There is a difference. Why am I saying pose? Because if a person has a proper love and affection, he will show it everywhere. If he shows at one place and not showing it other place, that means he's a pretender, right? That's why he's posing to be very kind, very humble, very simple, but at home, different personality. Sometimes Ravana, sometimes Hiranyakashipu, sometimes Duryodhana, all these different personalities. I'm talking about myself. So here, the point here, acknowledging, and I'm sincerely trying to follow this with my heart, and with all your prayers and blessings, someday I will be able to follow. That's my hope. Acknowledging, and third one is appreciating. Appreciating has to be genuine. It's not just, yes, I have to appreciate. Thank you. It's not a plastic thank you. It has to be genuine. When do we have, appreciation? Only when we have gratitude. When do we have gratitude? When we understand that I don't deserve this. I received this because of the mercy. Then gratitude will automatically come, isn't it? When I think that I deserve, what? I'm so and so, I have such qualifications, so you all must respect me. Then where is the question of gratitude there? The opposite is, I am actually useless fellow. I know nothing. But still, devotees love me and care for me because they are merciful. They are compassionate. In fact, Lord's appearance, Bhagavatam says in the 10th canto, we have so many reasons for Lord's appearance, right? Like Paritranaya Sadhunam, we have several reasons, external reasons, internal reasons. One of the reasons Bhagavatam says, and this I've heard it from Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, is his compassion. That is what is his real reason. To give compassion, to give mercy to devotees, to give mercy to all the living entities, Lord appears. So coming back to the point about appreciation again, when we appreciate genuinely, and that actually comes from gratitude. And gratitude, if we think about it, that is what should be our default situation, our option. Because every time, every moment, we are actually grateful to someone, actually speaking. Talk about even breathing. We should be grateful to Vayudev, right? If there is no Vayu, what will happen? We cannot breathe. So every moment, even simple activity which we think, many times is what happens. Simple activities we may not pay attention, but that requires so much complexity. For example, swallowing, or digestion. We never think about digestion until we have indigestion. Correct? Similarly, we never think about swallowing until somebody has a swallowing problem. And many times we don't even pay attention, like how automatic driving after 6 months. Similarly, automatic swallowing, automatic chewing. But only when there is a problem, we understand, oh my goodness, what a complex process is this, swallowing or digestion. So many processes involved. And we all study swallowing for almost 2 years. Every aspect, anatomy, physiology, pathology, everything we study there. So much, so many organs, so many enzymes, so many things are involved. Let's not go into there. But the point here is there is every opportunity to be grateful in life for us. And if we try to be grateful, that's why Bhagavatam Prabhuji said, devotion means gratitude. Gratitude means devotion. They are all, closely connected. So devotion means gratitude. So when we have gratitude, definitely we'll appreciate it. And when we appreciate, then we can definitely make progress. Why? Krishna sees every moment. He is there as Paramatma and looks at us. Are we genuinely appreciating devotees? And imagine, this is a very common thing in the world also. When somebody appreciates you, you feel happy. Yes, thank you, Prabhu. When somebody appreciates your children, you become extra happy, become super happy, right? Generally, that is the tendency. Similarly, when we appreciate devotees, our Supreme Father becomes super happy. He said, look at this devotee. He's appreciating my devotees. I must give him blessings. That is large stage. And the second point is encourage the potential in encourage the potential in the person. Everybody has some potential. Everybody has talents and how they can be engaged in services. So when we encourage their potential, then we can make further progress, definitely. So we must look for opportunities, how we can encourage devotees. More than engaging, because many times we have heard management means how we can nicely delegate the services, right? But more importantly, it's not just delegating the services. It is encouraging the person to come closer to Krishna. Encouraging to do what? Not to become a multimillionaire, not to become so and so, but to come closer to Krishna, to come closer to Krishna. All our interaction is to inspire and encourage each other so that we can come closer to Krishna. And more importantly, to please the Guru and Krishna. So third point is respect the differences. Again, for relationships, this is one of the very important sutra, very important formula. Respecting the differences. Differences will obviously be there. Even in our own mind, every day is different. Some days we are super enthusiastic, some days we are super dejected, some days we don't know what to do. It happens, right? Everybody goes through. As long as we are in association, we can have that. The steering wheel is association. If you are in association, we can go straight and we can reach our destination. But without that, there is no way actually. Without association, there is no way we can go on the right track. And coming back, when we are in association, how we should appreciate, first accept, acknowledge, appreciate. Then second one is encouraging each other, encouraging the potential in the person. Third one is respecting the differences. And especially, when we have a close relationship with family members, when we understand that personalities, personality itself is quite different and I am different. But when we respect each other's difference, to move forward will be much easier. How? By keeping Krishna in the center. Again, the point here, the important point here is keeping Krishna in the center. When we keep Krishna and Guru in the center, then we will forget about the differences. Even the differences sometimes can help to do service properly. For example, one person may be so happy and enthusiastic about performing deity worship, but the other person may be so enthusiastic in singing kirtan, but not so attached to deity worship. But when they respect each other's differences, yes, I will do the deity worship, you sing kirtan. That's all right. Then it will be a wonderful Vaikuntha atmosphere there. Similarly, this is one example. Every aspect we can take. Someone is good in particular area, someone is good in this area. We don't have to say that, why you are not good at, why you are not doing this. Instead of that, yes, you are good in this. That's wonderful. But we can perform devotional service together. That is the point, respecting the differences. And fourth one is very, very important. Tolerate the inevitable. Despite following all this, there are situations we get really bewildered. We don't know what to do. Difficulties come. At that time, we may not be, in a right framework of mind, right frame of mind to handle it. But when we understand, that is the reason Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, having regular association, then these things will come to our rescue. Tolerate the inevitable. Chaitanya Prabhu, when he was mentioning, if we take the life of Pandavas, they dealt with the problem in many ways. Sometimes, it's not that always there is some proverbs in many languages. If a person with an evil mind, just ignore or just move away, something like that. So it's not always one solution for all. And Pandavas, if we see in their lives, they approach the problem according to the severity of problem, and sometimes they tried and did what is supposed to be done. Sometimes they ignored the problem, sometimes they tolerated it, sometimes they rectified it. Right? We can see in Arjuna, when there is a opportunity, when there is a need for fighting, Arjuna fought. Arjuna wanted to rectify the situation by Krishna's instructions. And there are times he just had to tolerate. He had to go on exile for 14 years. And we can see how in every devotee's life, how they tolerated the difficulties. We can see any personality in Bhagavatam or any great devotee's life we take, we can see this, how Prabhupada tolerated so many failures in the early part. If we read Prabhupada Leelamrita, I always strongly believe this. Anyone who reads Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita will never have any depression in life. And Prabhupada's life history is the most promising, most hope-giving life history. Until 69 years, so much of difficulties. In fact, crying in wilderness, that is one of the huge chapter, right? And lifetime in preparation. Prabhupada went through so much and tolerated so many insults, so many difficulties, sometimes betrayals. And later part also, he had to tolerate his own disciples too, because they were new and they were coming in, learning things. He had to tolerate. He's a pure devotee, we understand, right? He's a pure devotee always. Prabhupada was always transcendental pure devotee. And same Srila Prabhupada, who is Jagat Guru, he had to cook for his disciples. Cooking is fine, right? Washing becomes difficult. Many times cooking is an easier task than washing, right? So that's where the thing comes. You take cooking, because cooking is like little artistic. You want to show your skills and do. But washing, what artistic thing we can do? We just have to wash. And not just that, Prabhupada had to wash their plates, wash the plates, everything he had to do that. All cleaning has to be done by Prabhupada. And he did it. Not just 1 day, 2 days, for many months together. And eventually, this great movement, ISKCON, International Society, has emerged as a huge movement all over the world, millions of devotees. But in the initial days, how Prabhupada tolerated everything. And here, let's come back to our life. Tolerate the inevitable. That's why Krishna is one of the early instructions, Matra Sparshas Kaunteya, Sitoshna, Sukha Dukkada, Agama Paino Nityas, Tham Titikshashva Bharata. Titikshashva. He wants us to tolerate. And then the last one is forgive generously. Very difficult instruction. Forgive. Not just forgive generously. There are seminars for art of forgiving. You might have heard, right? Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj did this also, I believe, art of forgiving. Many devotees have done around the world. So you might think, what is there in forgive? That's what I have thought in the initial days of Krishna consciousness. Forgive, okay, I forgive. Now, forgive and also think for the welfare of the devotee. That goes further and further. Not just forgiving, not just forgetting the situation. We actually think for the welfare of the devotee. This question was asked by Anand Vrindavan Prabhu. Many of you might have heard Anand Vrindavan Prabhu, one of the senior counselor and devotee, who is also a well-known financial advisor too. Very amazing personality, completely fixed. And his questions, I love his questions, and Maharaj's answers are so amazing. So he actually was mentioning in one of the classes, how, during his early life, he had a situation where, not for his mistake, he did not do any mistake, but some devotee got offended and literally chastised him, and the relationship became sour. I'm not saying the exact thing, some of you can hear it, but I'm just trying to get the essence of that incident. So he became so affected by the situation. And he goes for Mangalarati and services every day, And every day he has to see the devotee, right? So it becomes hard. And especially when the relationship becomes, hard and little sour, you meet the person, there is a, uncomfortable feeling. Okay, forget about that. So he was asking Maharaj how I can deal with it. Because of that, my chanting is affected, and I'm not able to focus on holy names like that. With humility, Prabhuji was mentioning. At that time, Maharaj gave the answer, very important, answer for all of us to understand. Maharaj told him to pray for the devotee first. That's amazing, right? When somebody offended us, and because of that, I'm going through a difficult situation, mind is depressed, and many services are affected. Maharaj said, pray for that person. No? And the essence of that particular thing is when we pray to the Supreme Lord for that particular person's welfare, Krishna watches us. And gradually we develop this particular aspect of forgiving, and we can move on to the next stage of forgiving generously. And when we understand, it's very difficult to practice. We all understand. It's very difficult, especially when it happens to us. It's easy to give instructions. You should not remember all these offenses, just forgive. Not just forgive generously. But when it happens to us, how can she do this? How could he do that? Doesn't she understand that I always be very careful and I want to perform? But still, why did she say that? Or why did he say that? It comes, right? And it not just comes, it keeps coming, keeps coming. It affects us to such an extent that we are kind of difficult to move forward. So, but when we remember this, I am supposed to forgive. And we can take this instruction, praying for that person. When somebody offends us, what can I do? Krishna, that person, that's what we have seen in the life of all these great personalities, right? Haridas Thakur. How not only forgave, he prayed for those people who whipped him, who literally beaten him in 22 marketplaces. And he prayed for their welfare, not just praying in the sense, not just forgive them, please. But he wanted them to be blessed by Krishna. He wanted them to receive the mercy of Krishna. This is the point. So praying in the sense, we want this particular devotee to have the blessings and mercy of Krishna. When we do that, in Krishna's eyes, we will definitely be there as a pleasing devotee. We will be pleasing Krishna by our service, by our attitude, by our mood. So there are 5 things which we discussed. First one is accept, acknowledge, appreciate. The second one is encouraging the potential in the person. Third one, respect the differences. Fourth one, tolerate the inevitable. And fifth one, forgive generously. When we do this, when we follow this for any relationships, not only familiar relationships, Vaishnava relationships, any relationships in the world will be very helpful and will be wonderful. Eventually, it will be a Vaikuntha relationship. So this is what we have seen in the life of Kardama Muni and Devhuti Mata. If you take all these 5 points, they will clearly fit in every situation. Oh, Devhuti Mata, she tolerated it. She did not complain. Why are you doing like this? I came all the way from Swayambhu Manu's palace and you're not even looking at me. You're all the time closing and meditating. Do you think that's the only thing as a Grihastha? She never complained. She tolerated it. And eventually what happened? She got the ultimate blessings. In fact, Kardama Muni was choking by so much love. He showered to express his love. This is a very important point, right? It's not just saying I love you, or we need to express our love. So he expressed his love by creating this aerial mansion. Why? To please his wife. And again, keeping Krishna in the center. Everything for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Everything for the service of the Supreme Lord. So I'm so sorry I went a little over time. Please excuse me. Please forgive me. I did not properly prepare for the class. And if I spoke anything inappropriate, please forgive me as your humble servant. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Think since it is. Jai. Also Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Are there any reflections, comments?
just sharing about religion and in the previous when you said tolerate and you mentioned different ways how kindness. I'm just trying to find the role of Draupadi. You see there she is forgiving. She was not able to forgive Duryodhana and Dushasana for the way they are, and she is considered to be so dear to the Lord. Like, I'm trying to understand what was her mood in that. Because of Kshatriya, and then you see, yes, when it came to Ashwatthama and he killed her own sons, she was able to forgive. Right? So I'm trying to find, like, I've heard that, yeah, because he's a Brahmana, he was the jewel was taken away. Living itself, that was a bigger punishment for him. But I'm just trying to comprehend this.
That's amazing, Mandy. Very nice observation, actually. I'll try. We have senior devotees here. They can answer very well. Within my limited capacity, I'll try to understand. See, every personality in Bhagavatam and Mahabharata here, they were so aligned with Krishna's desire. If you see, Draupadi Mata's life was completely aligned with Krishna's desire. In every situation, if you see, her devotion was always there. She was completely dedicated. At one side, she was actually couldn't forgive Duryodhana and she wanted to take revenge. And if we see, this is also Krishna's will. Krishna wanted the Kauravas to be finished. Because if you see, this is all again interlinked here, because her anger will definitely reflect with the husbands, right? Bhima became so upset by seeing Draupadi. I need to finish that guy as quickly as possible, right? So again, it is all interlinked. The purpose is to please Krishna by performing the service. That's how I understand, especially in the life of pure devotees. Pure devotees, is very difficult to understand their mood. It is very difficult to comprehend their activities or how they think. But if we try to understand through acharyas, they would definitely bring this point of everything is done for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord.
But in that same, then we see that Krishna was also went as a Shanti, that he didn't want the world to happen. Right? That is again, he wants the Kauravas to be finished, but then he wants peace, like for the ultimate. So they're all like self-contradictory.
Yes, Govind Prabhu has given a couple of seminars on this, actually, controversies in Mahabharata. It's all apparent controversies. They're not real controversies, but in our eyes, it appears like that, like Ekalaiva. We all, think when we read about first time about Ekalaiva, oh, that is a complete social injustice. We should not have done that. But when we go further, what was Ekalaiva's intention? His intention was not to protect the world as a Kshatriya. His intention is to know the skills so that he can control the world in many ways. That was the ill intention. So Dronacharya sensed it. And he asked for his thumb. So for us, we see the external things and appears that no, that is not the way. He's a Brahmana, he is so great, he's the guru of all these Pandavas, but still, how can he ask for? But the intention. So the pure devotees understand the intention. So that is how I understand Mataji. So apparent controversies, basically, it needs explanation from acharyas for us to understand. So that's how the underlying thing is, again, every devotee, they keep Krishna in the center and they work for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. That's my understanding, Mataji. Prabhuji, would you like to add?
It is regarding Ashwatthama.
Duryodhana and Ashwatthama. But she was unable to forgive Duryodhana, but she was able to forgive Ashwatthama. Draupadi Mata.
She was able to forgive Ashwatthama, but not able to forgive Duryodhana.
Yeah, we can see that, right, Prabhuji, that rage was there for a long time. Like even her hair was, unread.
She forgives because he is the son of the guru of the husband. But then here is the uncle, and if family relationship was not able to forgive. That's so hard.
She also mentions that, further in the Bhagavatam, one is the son of Guru. Second thing is she didn't want the pain which Ashwatthama's mother went through.
Yeah. But there is the same pain for that.
Yes.
So, like,
yes.
I mean, I'm not trying to
yes,
but I want to understand the mood behind her.
I understand. Would you like to add? Any other devotees? Devotees in Zoom also can share their reflections. That is my understanding, Mataji. I'm not well versed with Yes, Prabhuji.
The war was not actually Draupadi's decision. It was Krishna went as a peacemaker and said, "You were spy villages and did not be in war." So Duryodhana who wanted to. And Draupadi just she laughed or smiled once. Duryodhana kept a very bad grudge against her. So that was the root cause, I think, for the fight. Not that Draupadi really wanted them finished. So there could have been some peace treaty or something could have been worked out. But Duryodhana was never really interested in it.
Yes.
And I think that is the main cause of the Mahabharata. That's my understanding.
He even says that, right? Duryodhana even says that, Krishna, I understand, but I don't want to follow. So, Prabhuji, you can add further more. You wanted to say something else?
I have another question. I don't know if that answers the question. When we have Balaram, right? And was Duryodhana's move towards Balaram because he represents the Guru, right? And that is this is his real disciple. The relationship was not that the surrender was not there on behalf of Duryodhana towards Balaram, who is representing the Balaram. Trying to understand, and there is also you see Balaram favoring Duryodhana in this. Next time, just trying to understand. Sorry, Prabhu, really, I don't know about this.
Mataji, that is an amazing pastime again. You know, it's very difficult to understand Balaram Tattva in that aspect, especially. I think I asked Yugal Kishore Prabhuji a similar question actually. Prabhuji was mentioning, I forgot the name of particular Shakti, you know. So, I mean, the name, but the essence is, I may be wrong, if Prabhuji is there, Prabhuji can enlighten us.
What is that?
Prabhuji, understanding Balaram Tattva, Balaram was very dear to Duryodhana. And in fact, he got upset when Duryodhana was, wrongly treated. And we know, like, he was completely against Krishna's plan. So we're trying to understand. You mentioned this, Prabhuji. You mentioned there is a particular Shakti works. I forgot the name of that.
But the question is Balram Tattva or Draupadi forgive Ashwatthama and did
Both,
that?
Prabhuji. That was the first question. This is the second question.
Okay. The thing is with Draupadi, actually the circumstances are different. There was a battle going on, and battle was going. So because both are enemy side, like cousins became enemies. But then he wanted to kill Pandavas. He presumed these are Pandavas and he killed the children. Ashwatthama did not knowingly kill the Upapandavas. He killed them thinking it was Pandavas. So, and the second thing is, can you hear?
Yes, Prabhuji. Very well. We have put in the microphone, Prabhuji.
So, here as a mother, she was empathizing with Krupi, So a mother means I don't want that thing to happen to another mother. That is truly the mother's nature. Yes, what should not have happened happened. I'm at the loss. There is no question of forgiveness or anything. Here, like for example, somebody dies. How do we comfort them? So how do you comfort them? This should not have happened, but it happened. Means intelligence means, wisdom means you accept it reality. That's the reality. But compassion means you don't want that to happen to other person. So she was more concerned with Krupi. There is no Ashwatthama here. There's no question of forgiveness. She doesn't want this to happen to another mother. If she wanted this to happen to another mother, that is revenge. No, but no, she did not want this happen. Being Drona's guru for the Pandavas, they don't, that too, Dronacharya was not there, and Kripi, the son, was there, and he did most gruesome act, no doubt. But now, so he killed, because he felt Pandavas killed Dronacharya in a wrong manner. And also, this battle was still going on, so he wanted to avenge that. He not only killed Pandavas, but he killed actually Drashtadyumna, her brother. Despite this, she wanted the another mother not to suffer. So it's a battle. It's a bad dharma of the battle. But coming back to Duryodhan violated, not just violation, nobody wanted, you want to see somebody naked, not only you want to see, but you wanted the 40,000 people to see, So first of all, there is no respect. This is dharma hani, So Draupadi not only did not want that to happen to her, but not to any other lady actually. So Duryodhan, this is the gross violation of dharma, So and they were not. They did not feel sorry for that, So they wanted it. There was a plan, They wanted actually Maharaj. Yudhishthira did not want to put her on as a bet, but he says no. There is one more, So the thing is, here it's clearly evident, Honestly speaking, mother loves children more than her own chastity, no doubt. But there, the battle dharma is followed to some extent, It's not question of dharma. You don't want other mother to suffer. As simple as that. But Duryodhan, it's a wild character actually. We don't need to speak about this type of things. Anyway, not just Mahabharata, but entire Veda scriptures, Ramayana also filled with the dharma sukshma. That is the word. Apparently it appears something wrong, but if you dive deep, then you'll realize what is the reason of it. So that's why, because Hindus, so-called Hindus, Indians don't read this, then outsiders come and attack. Because we don't read or we don't receive training, we we become vulnerable. First of all, we cannot defend. Second thing is, if you're not careful, you'll get doubt in your mind. So these dharma sukshmas need to be understood. So that's what I can add for fasting. And what is the second thing?
Balaram Tattva Prabhuji, like how Balaram was so dear to Duryodhan despite Duryodhan being a rascal. So adharmic.
Guru is actually very dear to Krishna. If you will simply understand Balaram Tattva, for one reason, Prabhupada, why did Prabhupada come to the worst place in the world, in New York City, after leaving Radha Damodar temple, which is only hardly a mile distance from Sevakunj Vamsivat? You can go back to Godhead, or he could continue preaching in India, preaching to all the Dharmi people. So whomever the most degraded person you bring, Krishna means he'll kill. He'll just kill them actually. But Guru, what he will do, Guru will, so that, whoever is the most degraded, Guru will go door to door and preach. That's what Krishna wants from the Guru. Being the Guru Tattva, Balramji, because Duryodhan is the most fallen representation of Kali. Guru loves most fallen people. I was listening to the lecture of Radhana Swami where he says, initiating pious people is not really amazing, but you pick up somebody who is most fallen, you initiate them. That is pleasing to Krishna. Why Narada Muni is praising to Krishna, who is actually a first canto, third chapter, the empowered personality to spread devotional service. He would pick up the most fallen people, Mrugari, and what is that, Ratnakar. So why Narada Muni came to see Prabhupada again and again? Mother Malti told me this. 3 times at least Prabhupada told me Narada Muni is here. I could deliver, so like, what is that, one Mrugari or one Ratnakar to become me. I made him become Valmiki. But here so many Mrugaris are being transformed. That was the appreciation Narada Muni had for Prabhupada. So that is Guru Tattva. Guru Tattva means he'll pick up the most fallen person. When it rains, the low-lying areas will be flooded first. Where will the water accumulate? When it rains, the low-lying areas, they'll be flooded. So likewise, the mercy comes to the most, whoever is undeserving, their mercy goes. Like, if those parents, you have 3 children, one is a 20-year-old, second is a 12-year-old, third is 1-year-old. Mother, 3-year-old. Mother will carry 2-3-year-old boy, not the 9-year-old, not the 20-year-old. Why? Or if you have 4 children, mother will tell, hey, 20, in the last 2 years and 3 years, mother will carry 2-year-old boy, and she'll tell the son, you carry 3-year-old boy, who's 20-year-old son. Because whoever is the weakest, they need support. That is Balram Tattva. So second thing is Balram appears sometimes, contradicting Krishna actually. Gondru says this actually. So Balramji is there to spice up Krishna's pastimes. He intensifies the pastime, not that he's against Krishna.
Yes.
It's like nobody goes to any movie where hero first half he'll study, second half also, at the end he writes IAS civils exam, and finally he gets a job, civils, he becomes a collector. Nobody will go to that movie because he's just doing hard work only. He's just doing hard work, and that's common. No, so what is that? Hero wants to become successful, mother has cancer, father has that problem, and there's a villain who is giving trouble. But finally emerges, overcoming all the problems, he emerges victorious. That type of movie everyone will go and see. So Krishna, what is that? But of course, Balramji is, rule is rule for all. So he spices up the pastimes. He intensifies the pastime only to make it, relishable. But that time it's difficult for whoever is there. But we relish, how Krishna would handle. So that Bhakta Vatsalya, we see Krishna's Bhakta Vatsalya. So Krishna did not like Balramji's presence when there was a fight between Bhima and Duryodhan when it was about to start. Why? Krishna knew him. But how Krishna handled him? So what the great qualities of Krishna, Balramji, make sure the inner qualities of Krishna would come out and the devotees would relish. For even outsiders, they would relish the pastimes. That's what I can.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very grateful, Prabhuji. That actually satisfied completely and very helpful, Prabhuji. Very, very grateful. Now, I also feel relieved, Prabhuji, that devotees heard you. And I did injustice. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. I just heard whatever I heard, I just repeated.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Dandavad.
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, की जय।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
दंडवत प्रणाम माता जी। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण
थैंक यू प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna, all
हरे
devotees.
कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम।
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Very nice class, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.